Amer Bukvić, welcome. You're the Acting Director General Global Practices and Partnerships of the Islamic Development Bank.
Yes.
And you work together with Spark.
Yes.
What does your collaboration look like?
We have a very amazing experience with Spark. I think Spark is something as a refresh in our partnerships. We actually opened, jointly we opened the doors of a lot of additional partners through the cooperation of Spark and Islamic Development Bank. What Islamic Development Bank has, it has a membership of 57 member countries, and we have a very easy access to the countries, among which half of them are least developed member countries. And out of now 12 countries receiving the refugees internationally, 7 of them are our member countries. So there is a lot of joint area of cooperation, and there is a lot of potential of cooperation. And Spark is actually what I wanted to say is Spark is a very good partner for us, but also Islamic Development Bank is a very good partner for Spark, an institution of that kind, because we have a lot of potential and a lot of fusion that can be created between our institutions. And we have shown that. We have operations in 4 countries where we did a joint operation with Spark, and we have a phenomenal result so far. And we are looking also of expanding our cooperation in different areas, again cooperating with Sparks. We have a very far-fetched looking leadership of Sparks with Mr. Yannick, who understands the region of Middle East quite well, and also who has a very passionate leadership of Spark that actually energizes our cooperation and relations.
Sounds good. Yeah, they have a special position in the Middle East, and you just explained that's the reason why the collaboration is so unique.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, IDB, Islamic Development Bank, also is a very special organization which was established more than 40 years ago in 1974 in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. This is an institution with a very long history, which is basically a South-South cooperation that has a very deep grassroots in all our member countries, with a very long history and cooperation. And a lot of institutions that had difficulties to enter some of our member countries, they actually went through IDB, because IDB has the trust of the people and the grassroots. So actually this cooperation between IDB and Sparks is a very unique example of enormous potential that we can unlock generally in cooperation between European Commission, European Union, and GCC and other institutions between our 2 regions. So we show a very good model of cooperation that can be further expanded.
The Islamic Development Bank also plays a central role in the new strategy to create partnerships between the EU and the Middle East and the Gulf. What is your exact role in that?
What is the role of Islamic Development Bank? Yeah. Islamic Development Bank, when it comes to development, when it comes to has enormous experience, and we are in the grassroots, as I mentioned. So we have an excellent coordination with all our member countries, with their governments, with the NGOs, with the civil society organizations. So we have an enormous potential, and our role is to be a catalyst of growth in these countries. So we act as a catalyst in different sectors, in different thematical areas, but in our thematical areas and our sectors that we are looking at the development at is very similar to the thematical areas and sectors of other MDBs and the European Commission, European Union. So we have a lot of areas that we are touching together and that we are targeting, on our own in the same direction. So if we get our hands together, I think our potential is much bigger, and I think we have a huge potential. And we don't forget that we live in a very dynamic world where the needs are huge, and with all these crises from inflation, the food security, the instabilities like the Ukraine crisis, and the climate effects, we really have to act fast, and we have to develop the trust between our regions and between our people. And I think Spark is playing a phenomenal role in bringing and bridging these two regions together. So this is something that we really recognize, and we value and cherish the activities of Sparks in that direction. And we believe that we as well have very well established cooperation with all the institutions of European Union and other MDBs, where we have very strong cooperation with World Bank, with African Development Bank, with Asian Development Bank, with EBRD and other MDBs. So IDB has a history of cooperation and has a history of effective impact-driven developmental attempts in our member countries. And I think if we get our potential together, I think we have much more possibilities to deliver and really affect where the impact is required, which is our beneficiaries.
Why is this crucial, these partnerships?
Because it's crucial, because the crises that we are going through, that I mentioned, are just coming up, and the climate negative effects are just coming up, and it's very difficult for any side to handle these challenges on their own. I think even when we are all together, it's still very challenging. We live in a very dynamic world with a lot of challenges, and a lot of challenges ahead of us. And why partnerships are crucial? Because I do not see any other way of handling these crises except that we pull our hands together and we try to act together.
Sometimes it is difficult, because in practice, how can and how will EU and Middle East and the Gulf region collaborate?
Through our projects, through the on-ground requirements that what we are in. Where are we active? We are active in climate financing, green finance. We are active in helping the resilience of the countries that are affected with crisis, with refugees. We are all pushing in the same direction. And I don't see why is it difficult that we cooperate.
For example, because there are political challenges, or
we do not have, we do not have space for the mistrust at this point of time. We do not have. The trust is absolutely an absolute requirement that we have to go and we have to work for the humanity at this point of time, not for any political goals, but for the humanity and the humanitarian uplifting of the crises that are hitting us now very, very frequent.
The next steps how can the strategic partnership with, for example, the EU happen? What are the next steps?
I think it's already happening. Our president, His Excellency Dr. Jasser, is actually visiting EU, is visiting Brussels in the next 2-3 days. I think we are already extending our hand, and EU is also attended our annual meeting in Uzbekistan, and I think we already had sessions. But what we need to be very transparent and open about the operations and the pipelines of operations on both sides, and we can then see how we can, where we can actually act together and where we can create synergy of our two sides.
Yeah. How can INGOs like Spark contribute to that framework?
Well, Spark is already contributing. Spark is already by cooperating with us, by bridging, introducing, attending, is already bringing these two regions actually closer. Spark has done a brilliant work in many of our member countries, and we are very much aware of it, and we are recognizing the efforts of Spark and its leadership. I think they have done a phenomenal job in the past, and just by doing what they are doing, that's the way how you can help.
You're here today at Ignite conference. How, does it inspire you? What brings it to you?
What really inspired me and what impressed me is that at one place so diverse backgrounds came together with different, NGOs, MDBs, private sector, foundations, something that you could not imagine that they are all, and actually all these are working in the same direction. So bringing them all together in the same place is impressive. And we had so many meetings with different foundations, MDBs, different sectors.